Yeah, we're rolling.
All right, this is my official call out to Mr. Sam for being the most viewed video on Bogetti Studios channel. He's got me beat by 21,000 views. This is the most popular video. So I'm thinking we're going to have a spicy thumbnail and title for this.
Oh, we're going to do some. Okay. I mean, I'm in. I'm like not a big clickbaiter on this type of thing, but maybe we can do it for
get a shot like throwing something at me. You got something you can like
I can like
I'll lay on the table with my shirt off and just title it Cleetus Mcfarland died on my podcast.
I have a assault
hold that across the table like this.
Trigger discipline
right
is
at my
good.
face.
My trigger discipline is good.
And then title it Heated Conversation.
Heated Discussion.
With Cleetus. And then we'll talk about two Jay-Z's to get the conversation started. Yeah. Which will be heated, and then it's not clickbait.
You know how sensitive I get about everything. So if you start talking smack about two J's,
and how unreliable they are.
All right, guys, I wanted to interrupt this real quick to say if you enjoy what we're doing here, I only ask one thing. Hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. It helps us grow, and we can keep this thing going. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. Whoa, Toyota built the best engine ever, and it happened to fall in the hands of people that are not qualified to be boosting it.
One of the greatest engines ever, up to 1,200 horsepower.
Whew, I mean, that's a pretty good number. I think they made like 280 factory.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's just once it's over 1,200 horsepower, I think it falls into a category of...
Quite a few engines have that fall off.
It's not in the top 5.
Would you put it above Godzilla? Not the Japanese one, because for some reason Ford felt the need that like they were like, hey, Nissan has this Godzilla, but guess what? They forgot to trademark it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We're going to make a Godzilla.
Talking about the Ford Godzilla. If we're in the over 1,200 range for reliability, the 2J may be more. Yeah, the 2J is definitely more reliable than the Godzilla over 1,200.
More reliable over 1,200.
Under 1,200, I bet you get more runs out of. Oh, I don't know. Under 1,200?
I got like 200 runs out of my.
Yeah, the 2J is probably just overall better than the Godzilla. For racing, the Godzilla, I think because it is such a big, hefty toaster, it's not the best racing engine.
In the Godzilla's defense, I probably went 120 passes without touching the laptop.
Yeah.
Versus
our Godzilla.
How many times did you touch the laptop?
Every run.
If there's an oil down, you're one of those where you break it out and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, and we run ours at max effort, peak. Like 5 runs in to owning it. I have like a hair on my head.
And there's nobody that really knows, like, hey, this is the limit. I kind of, stole all the knowledge from Victor. So I got to really leg up there. I tell people I just, tricked Victor into giving me all of his knowledge so I didn't have to struggle through it.
I would say the 2J is a solid engine. Just when you're really making a lot of steam, I don't think they're that reliable.
No, I would agree with that. I think in a 3,200-pound street car, trying to go like a 720 or a 730, they're
leaning on it.
You get like 4 runs out of them. And every time somebody leans on it that hard, they always hit me with it only did that. I'm like, listen, you're not trying to convince me I own a 2J. I just know where the limit is.
I know. I mean, the billet ones are probably a little better, but...
They're a little better, but you're still just so much, like, horsepower per cylinder is so high at that point.
Yeah.
Like the Hondas, they just blow those things apart.
I know.
Every other pass.
Really, if you look at it, like there's a lot of engines that make a ton of power. Like the rotary guys that I've been racing lately, their cars do make insane power, but I think they change their engine every handful of runs.
Yeah.
And then the Honda guys change their engines a little less. The 2J guys change their engines a little less. And then us big block guys, for the most part, don't have to change our engines.
Yeah, that's where it comes down to is like, I look at it as like passes per pulling out the engine.
Yeah.
And I am trying to maximize that because
I know you are.
It doesn't give me any joy to pull an engine out. It's like it's less fun than people think.
Honestly though, I think you need to blow your shit up a little more often. I was looking at how many times you've blown your engine up because I keep a log. And it needs to happen a little bit more. I mean, it's like Do you blow your car up enough? I'm not sure.
There's like a level. It's
I'm
like
starting
me
to not trust you.
up here, not blow it up a lot. You're right here, blow it up like your engine's like pretty frequently, and then James is here, blows it up every pass, and
there is a
somehow
balance.
makes it to every round, even though it blows up every pass.
There's a balance. There's a balance to be had. Just at FL2K, I mean, Jackson, it's like, oh yeah. Well, I was just like, hey, why are your heads off? You know, because it's pretty interesting to see someone just pull their heads off right after the run. He's like, yeah, it needs a head gasket. I mean, the guy's just so casual about tearing his engines up.
He back to back blew up engines. He crashed the 240, got off the thing and got into McFlurry. Like, they drove him from the accident to his other car.
Yep.
And he blew up.
I don't think the McFlurry one was his fault. The McFlurry one is probably more my fault. But still, I mean, it's just his foot was pressing the gas pedal, so that's true.
He probably had some warnings that something was happening, I would imagine.
I'll be honest, when we fired up the Godzilla to go make that run, there was a significant amount of water coming out of the right exhaust. Like, it had pooled some water. And I was like, yeah, this might be it. And we knew if the Godzilla didn't survive FL2K, we knew we're done.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think when you did that motor, everybody was like, you should have done a Coyote. Everybody that knows racing really well was saying Coyote, but everybody that like wants something cool was probably saying Godzilla.
Yeah, I just wanted that title, you know, Godzilla, Bruno Lanco, Fox Body, like sick. Coyote, it's kind of cool. So at least we tried it, and now we can go the Coyote route.
Yeah, I think it was fair. And I think you gave it a fair shake. I'm sure a lot of people will be like, you should have, ran it for 6 years and worked out all the kinks and
I know.
Worked on it every weekend.
750s on it. I have the Godzilla record on accident. I mean, it's just I did not plan to go that fast. It just worked really good in the Fox Body.
Yeah.
And it had the best transmission ever.
I think that's what also people
chassis
don't
and
realize.
transmission is pretty dialed. So, I mean, it did good. It doesn't like running that hard for that long.
It's fair. I mean, that was pretty hard. They built it for what was it, the 250s? The
I think F250s and like work vans. So, you know what the red line is on a stock Godzilla?
No.
It's like 6,200 or 6,300. It's something really low.
That would actually be a cool motor, though, in like a Crown Vic. Like, if they brought back the Crown Vics, and they're like, hey, they're all getting Godzillas.
Let me look up the stock rival.
That would actually be kind of cool. I could see
7.3 Godzilla.
Or like if you had like a limo, maybe. You needed some low end torque to carry around like a family of people.
A stock, like a Crown Vic with a Godzilla combo would be sick.
That would be like a great Marauder comeback, is a Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I miss my Marauder big time.
That would be a good comeback.
Well, it doesn't say what the red line is.
Probably like 5,800.
It's something atrociously low. Like
a diesel.
And, that's why I think we were pulling the valve seats out of the heads and stuff. It's just they hate their life when they get up there.
Yeah, and the oil pump was clearly not set up for high RPM. I think that's part of the issue.
I don't know if I've even looked at an oil pump on one. I mean, that's out of my league.
It's like chain-driven deal.
Yeah, I kind of remember it was on the front of the, right.
Yeah, that's questionable. But most Coyote guys, a lot of Coyote guys going sixes go dry sump anyways. Like Brett's car is dry sump.
Brett's car is dry sump?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brett's car is dry sump. His old car, the new owner now has, is dry sump.
Oh, really?
They just switched it over.
McFlurry's about to be wet sump.
I'm a wet sump guy. Listen.
Yeah?
Mostly because they told me the price of a dry sump. And I quickly became a wet sump fan.
I mean, wet sump's not bad. Like Mullet went 640s wet sump. His big block, like the BBC, was wet sump, and it was great. The only reason that engine broke was because it bent the crank.
Yeah.
Who knows how fast it could have gone wet sump, but now it's dry sump, and it's like there's so many oil lines. It's crazy.
It is kind of a pain in the ass once you do that. And they're probably massive on that car too. And then you have this giant tank probably in the front.
Yeah,
that's just a pain in the butt.
14 quarts of oil. Whew. It's a different ball game.
Yeah. Well, also though, congrats on sixes in your, I guess it's a dune buggy now. When I knew it was a Corvette.
Yeah, it's just
at some point it transitioned.
Not even a car. It's not even a car. According to my haters, it is not even a vehicle. Like according to my haters, I can't hold any vehicle records with that car. The only thing that makes it close to a car is the fact that it has 4 wheels. Everyone's just like, no, that's not a car. It doesn't count for anything.
But we've heard that for years. I mean, when it went 9s, it wasn't a car.
I know.
And I was like, God.
At this point,
it's all relaxed.
At this point, I do not care, but I love titling the video like Stick Shift Corvette record. Yeah. I could care less if people think it's a Corvette or not, but just to get people amped, I'm like, Stick Shift Corvette, first one in the 6s, you know the deal, because it gets probably 40% of the comments on my video are about whether or not it's a Corvette. So that's like Leroy's whole thing is he's always gotten so much attention, even from his haters.
Yes. And it's the same deal with how it was before. The guys that you're racing against, they know it's a Corvette. Everybody in the class has no issue calling it a Corvette. Yeah. And then it's the people that aren't in the class that love calling it not a Corvette.
Even the Corvette guys in my class are like, it is a Corvette.
Yeah.
And, you know, we could go all day about this, but technically it took 870 horsepower to go 200 miles an hour in just drag.
Yeah.
Which is double what it was of just a C5 with a body on it because we took it to the wind tunnel. So I just looked up that data from A2 and they made it for 200 mile an hour for us. And it's 870 horsepower.
Extend the graph out for you.
Yeah. So for Leroy to maintain 200 mile an hour, it's 870 horsepower. For a stock C5 with a body, it's less than 400 horsepower to maintain 200. Yeah. So think about putting a body on my car is like giving me 400 horsepower.
You would basically just be gaining so much. Like if you did that for World Cup, I think a lot of people would probably get a lot more worried because a lot of those stick shift cars are big back half cars. I mean, you saw Grannis's car versus
that was sick.
He was like a car out on him, and then that thing just like tucks the nose down, and it's just like a snow plow.
That thing makes so much power.
It's such a good car.
A lot of the stick cars are just awesome, and like to go back to the Corvette thing, we were sitting in the lanes, and I'm next to Sean Madden's white Corvette. Yeah. His car is lighter than mine.
Yeah. And it's 4-link.
And it has beautiful aerodynamics.
Yeah. It's all aftermarket body.
So it's hilarious that people are like, that's not a Corvette, but his is lighter. So, I mean, I guess if body panels make a car what it is, that's the logic that most of the haters have.
Yeah.
The chassis and nothing and all that has nothing to do with it. The body panels are what it is. So if you took Ferrari body panels and put it on a Miata, it is therefore a Ferrari.
So interesting thing in Pro Mod, there's actually a discussion that those Camaro bodies should have more weight because they're more aerodynamic.
Yeah, I've always wondered.
Just because they're more aerodynamic, people say they should have more weight on them.
Well, you know what I was wondering is like Pro Mods, why don't they just run like a little tube, like a rocket?
Yeah.
Why not? Because it doesn't matter does it have to look like a car? Can it just be like a rocket body?
I've always wondered, do you have to take everything with you when you leave the line? Like, what if you could just like launch yourself and you like left, you left like your deal on the line and
like detach some weight at the line? Is that what you're saying?
No, like, you know, you're in a little cockpit, no engine, and you pull up and like there's something that just like launches you out down the track and you leave like the whole you're just in like it's like a junior.
I mean, I think they'd make a rule for that pretty quick.
It would at least make one race.
Like a rocket booster, like you detach from your fuel tank. It's like
it just like sends you.
Well, did you see? Like I wanted to build Mullet as a rocket car or a turbine car.
Yeah.
And freaking Streetcar Takeover came out with a rule for it before I even got it done.
That was a little harsh.
It's probably unbelievable.
Fair, probably reasonable, but harsh.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
I mean, these class rules, man, I tell you. Even Victor Alvarez is the worst of them all.
I petitioned to him.
Victor's making rules left and right. Whenever he sees me, he makes a rule about my cars.
But then some people make rules the other way.
That's true.
Some people have made rules that somehow open it up to a white Fox body with a Godzilla.
That's not true. I'm running World Cup rules.
It was opened up to a 7.3 liter Godzilla engine that ran TX2K. It said that in the rules.
It said, yeah, twin turbo Godzilla or something. Very specific to my combo.
Very specific. Well, 2 years ago, it said like, twin turbo LT Nova for Doug Cook.
Yeah. I mean,
he didn't make it to that one, though, I don't think.
Yeah, we're talking about the World Cup rules.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you call Jason and it's like last minute, he'll analyze, okay, will this car ruin the class? No. Does it fit? Yes, pretty much. And he'll make a specific rule. And I think in every instance that he's done that for me, we've never won. So
it does make sense to, make certain cars fit that don't, knowing their potential. If the problem is if somebody reads that and then next year they end up trying to build a combo that can really streamline into there. Like if somebody did that for LDR, somebody would figure out a workaround for that.
I was trying to get him to change or help me get like an approval for a rule, I guess, bypass just last week because I called him. I'm like, hey, we're taking the Godzilla out of McFlurry, so it's not going to fit those rules. Well, I was going to switch to the Ultra Street rules, which is a very popular class, very serious rule set.
Super tight.
It's great. I had no problems with the engine combo. I was going to run the Coyote with their size turbo, the Ultra Street turbo, but Ultra Street doesn't have a rule for 5-speed Lenkos. So I'm just like, hey, I'll run their everything. Can I just get a 5-speed Lenko? Can you
just a provision for that?
Yeah, just a provision for that. And he's like, dude, Ultra Street is way too strict. We can't do it.
Yeah,
so
James's car
I do get turned down.
Yeah.
I'm not like there's definitely some races that are less serious where you can get more of a okay, I don't care, a World Cup.
Yeah.
He doesn't mess around because his classes are really important to him. So
especially in the Ultra Street crossover deal because those guys are extreme. Yeah. They have like a Facebook group and they go crazy in that deal. They come at each other a little bit.
I've heard.
James
I think that's why he
Street.
didn't want to mess with it.
That's why James likes Ultra Street.
Well, and then Mullet, I just got kicked out of all the classes that I raced. Like last year I won the streetcar class at FL2K, kicked out. Won the Warriors versus Trace Quattros at World Cup, kicked out,
Yeah. I messaged Victor to kick you out of all of those, even though I don't run.
Even though you're not in it.
Even though I'm not in it. I'm not in the A group, and I'm still out here petitioning.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, what's the deal? Why can't I run this class? He's like, dude, everyone's complaining about your lockup, and then now you have a different engine. It's billet. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm running with Pro Mods now, which is just
560s.
So I'm hoping this year, after I get absolutely cranked by a bunch of Pro Mods, he says, okay, we'll let Mullet back down one class and hopefully give me a reasonable set of rules. Like, I don't mind not using my lockup if I don't have to, but I'm not going to switch back engines to fit the class rules. That's what I would have had to do.
But if you were to, just thinking long term, I guess, you probably want something faster and lighter than Mullet. It almost needs to be a different chassis. Would you just put that billet motor in something else and put like a regular old cast block motor in?
Like
Mullet?
What it used to have.
Because it was good with the cast block motor.
Yeah.
You could drive it everywhere. Probably wouldn't overheat. It wouldn't be like a pain in the ass.
Mullet can't go backwards, but I would be okay. See, like, everyone's like, oh, you should just go back to your old engine. It lasted so, it was doing so good. You went 647. Well, like, the rated boost from Steve was like 40 PSI. We were running like 57 at World Cup to squeeze out a 647. Yeah. So if I put the old engine in and I don't go as fast as the car used to go, then everyone's going to be like bored of it.
I just figured it'd be good for drag and drive stuff. And then you can just, have something a little faster for...
I know, but then I'm just going to get pummeled by guys who are faster.
In drag and drive?
Yeah, Brett averaged like a 650.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to go to all of them. He went to one.
No, I know, but I got to go beat him.
Oh, yeah, you got to beat him at World Cup.
I got to beat him at freaking Sick Week.
Sick Week, yeah, that makes sense.
So it's, I
think he'll do it again. I think he's signed up. I know Jim signed up, I think.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only going to beat Brett.
His car fit the street car class still.
At World Cup or at FL2K?
Yeah.
I thought he got pushed into that for some reason.
He just didn't run it. He just opted out.
But you can only run one class now.
That's why he just opted out of streetcar. And he was hoping Jim would win, and then Jim went runner-up. He was pissed.
Oh, I thought there was a rule that kept him out as well.
No, I don't think so. Because he's on small tires.
It is amazing what his car and the Coyote are doing. Like, it's really fast.
Very quick car.
So I got some work to do to chase him. His chassis is so much better than Mullet's, I think.
It's so beautiful when
like
it
on
leaves.
a 275, he's just going so fast. And here I am on a 275. I just can't get the power down. So we got some reeling in to do there, which I think they've gone and tested a lot more than us. So
he's definitely tested that car a lot, but he's also very, very subtle with his testing. Like very like little change, little change, little change. Like, like, oh, this time I'm just going to test like one little bar adjustment. Like, it's just so like meticulous of like small changes.
Can you just chill out, Brett?
Yeah.
We're talking about the guy with the green Mustang.
Yeah.
No one knows
well,
who
Sala,
Brett is.
he's been on. He's a fast car. Yeah. He works at Real Street, and they got that thing pretty dialed in.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a good car. I'm excited for World Cup. I'm not going to go because, you know, it's tough to just go hang out at a race that you're not actually participating in.
Yeah, it's
cold.
It's cold. It's going to be packed.
Long week.
Yeah, World Cup is, I definitely look forward to it a lot.
I love the race. I watch.
Yeah, I wonder how many people watch the live stream because it's got to be one of the best of the year.
The stands are packed all 3 days. Like
it's probably my favorite race to sit down and watch.
Yep.
So like at the end of the day when we're done with our rounds, like just going up there, it's sick.
That's why I just opt to turn it on the TV.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
It helps me.
I don't blame you.
It's nice for that deal. I'm trying to do a pregame again for that. I don't know who's gonna come on. Maybe I need to get Jason Miller down for maybe next year's pregame. So
who's around here that's going?
Well,
I guess Victor.
Brett will be there.
Brett,
Jim will be there. Maybe you can come on. Maybe
is Jim racing?
Jim's not racing, but he's helping Brett.
Yeah.
So close enough. But Victor is racing. He's racing his Honda.
He's racing his Honda. Yeah.
Big Honda guy.
I know.
You know they replace those tires every 4 or 5 passes.
The front tires on a Honda? Really?
Yeah.
The slick? Why? Because the sidewalls die?
They just tear them up too much. They start to chunk on the brakes.
What?
Because they're like, I think they're like 70% nose weight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So next time you see like a Honda guy racing, know that he gets like 4 passes out of a $300 set of tires.
And his engine?
He gets 2 out of those.
Two runs,
out of an engine, 4 out of the tires.
So you're like, oh, I changed. All right, I'm on my second engine of the day. Okay, I got to swap tires.
Yep. You put like the little marks on like people mark their tires, people mark their engine.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, that's horrible.
That's crazy. I mean, I remember when we used to make freaking so many runs on a car and not have to replace anything. And sometimes my cars will go forever without having to do work. Like your car, I know you do a lot of laps without having to replace anything.
Yeah, but I don't win a lot, so it's not very like wowing.
The more competitive you get, the more work you have to put in on your vehicle. For sure.
The streetcar class is so stupid. It's like right now, it's just so stupid.
Yeah, with the 3 breakouts and all that.
Not even just that though. Like people are going 680s in the streetcar class and like 17s like consistently. Like that's insane. That like you may show up to a class and like the street cars are going.
What do you do though? Like if it's a street car.
No, I fully get it. I'm just saying like the rules are so open that the cars are going so fast.
What do you think the rules should be?
I don't know if they should add rules. I just can admit that it is absolutely insane that they're going in the 8th mile as fast as like Ultra Street and LDR.
Yeah, it's true.
That's where I'm like, okay, this is wild.
I wonder if someone could come out with like a light rule set that would just slow everyone down into the 7s.
I mean, we got the car count, so it's like you shouldn't be super concerned about not getting the car count.
Yeah.
And then splitting it up by class just makes everybody an index racer.
I know. I hate that index racing.
It's not fun.
It sucks.
It's just the get in where you fit in and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it would be way more fun if everyone was just running 750s in that class.
But there will be, I mean, the A class I think was 720 to a 717 was the winner.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, those are fast cars. Like that's not
the difference
slow.
between 760s and 720s is massive. I don't know if everyone knows that, but like the amount of power you have to withstand out the big end to run a 720 is too much for most engines.
780s are, I would venture to say, easy.
With an automatic car, yeah.
Like the combination, like I could give you 50 different combinations that it's not going to be rocket science. It just takes a little bit of money.
With a Power Glide or a Turbo 400.
You don't need some wowing suspension or anything. Like,
it's a piece of cake.
I literally do it with like Viking off-the-shelf coilovers that haven't been off the car in
Which is crazy.
years.
Remember how hard it was to go sevens first? Like when we first got into racing, that was like insane.
We made it harder than it had to be.
Well, that's fair.
Like, there was definitely an easier path.
Definitely.
And at
than
every
a stick
path,
shift Corvette with no body.
even with the stick shift Corvette, I feel like we often took some choices that didn't make it easy on ourselves.
Oh, the worst choices.
Slow on switching to Holly, slow on switching to like drive-by-wire, slow or cable.
I guess I mean, we didn't realize at the time, but the guys that we were surrounded by were not drag racers.
Yes.
So, which is great. I mean, that's because that's what we had at the time was a full-blown street car. Leroy was totally a street car. I mean, I know that sounds dumb, but
no, it was.
It was built like a street car, and that was just not the right way.
You were so reluctant to put skinnies on the front.
Yeah, I know. I was like, they're so ugly, dude.
It was like the wheels you need. C5Z wheels. They fit a good tire.
Yeah.
It was like, okay.
Yeah, like 18s. We were building a street car. We didn't even realize it. We were building a street car to go drag racing. If we just had an ounce of the knowledge we have now, or we were around drag racers, they would have been like, nah, dude, none of that.
I will say, James had the knowledge, but he was pretty slow on feeding it out.
Dude, James was right there with us.
But he was racing for years. He was racing for a long time. But
I don't think that... I think he had a street car too. I don't think James had a drag car.
Yeah, the Nova had nitrous on it, like
he had a carbureted LS with nitrous
in the 240. I think it just swapped back and forth.
He did have a Glide, so he was a step ahead of us there. But when I'm trying to think who the first drag racer, because even at that time, Victor wasn't even a drag racer.
The first
he was more of a
real
street racer.
Drag racing talk, I feel like was Casey Rance.
Yeah, that's true. Casey from Texas Speed was the first guy who was like,
"What are you guys doing?"
He's like, "No, man, you gotta do it like this." You know, he was definitely. That's a good point.
Shout out to mail order tuner.
Yeah, I'm shocked you thought of that. I saw his brother the other day. His brother flies airplanes.
Oh, cool.
I was at that airplane race and I saw his brother.
I haven't seen Casey in a while. I mean, his 240 was that was one of the first 7-second cars that did it all the time.
Yeah, and he was going 7.0s, I remember.
Yeah.
On a 4-bolt headed Texas Speed 427. We were like, that's crazy.
Well, also he'd be like, yeah, I'd take it out once a year. And it goes 7.0s.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and what do you know? First time we ran a 7 was with him.
Yep.
So yeah, that's our first drag racer, real, just drag race guy, I guess. I mean, by the time we were running 8s and bottom 8s and all that, we were kind of drag racers. We had to figure it out.
But we would fly into Texas Speed, and remember we raced a couple of the Texas Speed cars for them, and I think that was before Leroy went 7s.
It was right after.
Stick shift.
It was right after.
NA car and a couple other things. I mean, yeah, we spent a little time talking with Casey, and he kind of helped coach through a little bit of the growing pains.
This is so funny how bad we were at building cars. You remember Leroy had 3 fuel pumps. Was it 3 MagnaFuel? It was 2 MagnaFuels and the stock pump.
And a booster. 2 boosters, maybe.
Yeah, so it was stock fuel cell with a stock fuel pump with a line all the way to the front of the car. And then there was 2 bungs put in the bottom of the plastic fuel tank, one each feeding a MagnaFuel 750. Both MagnaFuel 750s were booster pumped, so they weren't 12 volts. They were 16. And then it wired together, ran to the front of the car, where it then connected with the stock fuel pump.
Yep.
And then we had a, what are those pressure switches called?
Oh, yeah, the Hobbs switch.
Oh, yeah. Then we had a Hobbs switch.
Oh, yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah, so the Hobbs switch is just a sensor that just on or off to kick on other
has
fuel.
a vacuum line. Has a vacuum line. And then it would see 6 or 2 pounds of boost. First MagnaFuel 750 comes lighting up. 7 pounds of boost. Second 750 comes lighting up. Dude, we thought we had this fuel system dialed on.
How many people do you think consulted on that too? Like 20 people probably had questions asked to them at some point, like answered a call, and they were like, I guess you can do this. Like,
and do you remember when it would blow fuses? So we had those 40 amp fuses.
They were like from like an RV. We had to find one at
the biggest fuses, dude. I was like, I don't know where we even got them things.
They were VMP booster pumps.
Yeah.
So like we consulted with VMP, we consulted with like Jeremy, we consulted with Motion.
Yeah, we had these huge ass fuses running the thing, and somehow, dude, miraculously got us into like the mid 8s, and then Doug from Motion Raceworks came in town and put a mechanical fuel pump on the car.
Yeah, and even that was a little questionable.
Dude, that thing never broke.
Just the location-wise of things and the way that things were mounted probably wouldn't be done that now.
No.
And granted, nothing on Doug. We were like, we got these hand tools. Help us put this thing in.
Yeah. Yeah, we did like the remote fuel pump where you have the cable all the way in the back.
Cable.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, it works, though. It makes a lot of power doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it never failed.
Shout out to Doug for flying in for that back in the early days.
Yeah, that's just crazy to think. But I think that was kind of around the time we figured out, okay, now we're drag racers. This thing needs to work like this and not like a street car.
I think one of the people, too, was Matt LaRue was like, what are you trying to do with this thing? Like, when are you going to, like, get serious on your car here?
Yeah. Matt from ProFab, I remember when I was trying to decide if I should keep the air conditioning in Leroy or not. And he was like, why do you have air conditioning? And I was like, it's nice. And he was like, I was on the fence about it, and he just cut the AC condenser line. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, screw this, and just cuts the line, and the AC stuff's like, and I'm like, bro. And he's like, you don't need AC? What the hell? So then we took out like 50 pounds worth of crap.
Yeah. Sometimes you need somebody to like sit you down and be like, what is your real end goal?
Yeah.
And I've had these conversations with friends before where I'm like, what do you really see yourself? Because they're like, I need it to be full comfort. I want to drive this thing to California and back. And I'm like, but really, let's talk a little bit here. I talked to Brett about this. I was like, you should do like a concierge service for these people that don't like, consult with these people and help them with the fab shop, the wiring, like all this kind of stuff.
The crazy thing is, though, back then, if you asked me that, I would be like, oh, well, I wanted to be able to drift it, drag race it, and, drive it to the track.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't
It had to really do all that because that was the only way it could make that much content.
Dude.
There was no
back
other
in the day,
way.
Leroy was single-handedly pumping out content like you've never seen.
But that was also with putting a ton of miles under our belt.
Yeah.
That was without fail because there was a lot of miles.
I know.
On that truck.
Yep.
Like going to ice cream cruise and stuff. I mean, that's a haul.
I know. I was just talking to Kyle Loftus. I was like, dude, we need to go to ice cream cruise next year.
I was telling my wife that. I was like, I want to go because she's never been. I was like, I really need to
make it a thing.
Yeah.
But
and they
you're
just
gonna have
gave
a baby.
$180,000. Or 118?
120.
Yeah. $120,000 to veterans because it's a full charity deal.
I know. It's incredible.
Such a cool event that he does.
You're going to have a baby to travel with. You know that?
I will have a baby. Maybe I'll have to drive and Bronte will fly in.
Traveling with a baby is a tricky situation. We'll have to figure something out.
It's been pretty tricky traveling with a wife to begin with, so I can't imagine.
Traveling with a wife is tough. Traveling with a wife with a baby, even more significant.
I can imagine it gets exponentially harder because just a wife alone is already a chore in itself.
Yeah, Maddie always is like, I just like traveling with you. I don't even have to think. I'm like, well, that's good to know that I'm just totally on my own over here.
We'd really enjoy if you thank a little bit, Like
just thank a little bit, we'd be dialed in.
This could go a lot better.
Do you feel like you're ready for this baby?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I got the 3D ultrasound today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How's he looking?
He's all there. The lady, the first thing she said, because he had his back to us, and she goes,
guess.
He has a mullet.
I was going to say, I knew it. His hair.
She goes, he has a great mullet.
How do they read those ultrasounds?
I was thinking she's
that
making
must be
it
like looking at a data log for your first time.
Yeah.
You're like, what's all this information?
She's making it up, I think.
They're looking at that ultrasound thing like, oh, they got a full head of hair. Yeah. So did Rip. And I'm like, That is just crazy because it looks like a big blurry screen.
Yeah, she's like, it's right there. I'm like, you can keep pointing at it, but it looks like a geographical location. Like, it looks like one of those maps that has like elevation.
And then they're like, oh, that's the left side of their brain. I'm like, okay.
It was pretty cool though. I mean, he was looking, he was doing a lot of this. Kept hiding his face.
Rip was doing that too.
He kept doing it, and we had to keep like.
They're kind of like pushing on her belly and stuff.
We were like, I was fully like pushing him. I was like, move out the way, dude.
It's crazy.
He was fighting. He was like,
dude,
like
you got what, 2 months?
Yeah, December 24th.
This is when it gets live, dude. Live action.
Bronte, thankfully, she's had a good pregnancy.
Yeah.
She may not think it right now, but I bet you if she looks back and talks to other people, she'll be like, oh, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think she's doing really good. Every time I see her, she's killing it.
Yeah, she can't stay out past dark. Like she goes to the track and it like gets dark and she's like, I'm too tired. I'm like, it's 7:30.
Brother, wait till they have a baby and they're pregnant. Then they like get wore out quick because Rip is just like on a rip, literally the whole day. And Maddie's got a baby in her belly that she's building.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Are you prepared? Because once she has this girl that she really wants, she's going to be like, here, you take Rip.
Oh, yeah.
I hang out with the girl. You take Rip.
100%.
Because I know she want a girl, so like she's going to be...
I feel like once baby number 2 comes, you're kind of in charge of baby number 1 as the dad.
Oh.
Because the newborns, it's really all mom work. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not much, you don't have boobs, so there's not much you can do there.
Kind of get knighted in a way. Like, here you go.
Yep.
It's yours now. And the fact that it's a boy that you have and it's a girl that's coming makes it more like, here you go.
I felt like I was getting my pilot's license the first time I soloed with Rip, Like, she's like, hey, I'm leaving. Like, bottles got to be given at this time. This, that, this. Lots of checklists, things like that. Just like flying an airplane.
Yeah.
And it was like my CFI, my instructor, got out, except Maddie walked out the door, and then Rip and I were just there.
Like, Maddie, I run a business with 50 employees. I can handle 1 2-foot-tall child.
For 2 hours. Yeah, I'll be fine.
For 2 hours.
It is kind of chaotic, though.
I'm sure it is.
Like, they're so tedious.
Once you have, like, your fun with them and you play with a couple toys, you're like, all right, like, you want to watch some plane crashes?
Yeah, dude. Like, I try to pull my normal stuff, and he's just not interested sometimes.
All normal tricks.
Yeah. The crazy thing about kids is sometimes you don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. And so just shit hits the fan. And there you are trying to figure out, what can I do to please you?
Yeah.
And they don't know. And it's just not a good situation to be in.
It is a pain in the ass that they can't just tell you, hey, I'm hungry. Like, hey, can you help me out here, buddy?
It's one of those things. But like Maddie, on the other hand, speaks that language, so she knows.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Bronte will know.
Like, there's like a tingling in their brain that men don't get. We just don't get that.
Motherly instinct.
Like, I think the men get like I have to go out and provide something of value. I have to venture outside and get something of value. Like,
100%.
Like, you come back with anything and it feels like a success. Like, I just got this
paper
pizza.
Towels.
This pasta that I made for you guys is my contribution. Are you going to get him junior drag racing?
Oh, yeah. Junior dragster videos, dude. Fire me up.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think about it on that side.
Dude, we're making the most fire junior dragster videos this world's ever seen.
Yeah, Ty's going to build some titanium junior dragster.
I cannot wait. Like, it's going to be fire.
I caught a little bit of heat. The other day I was kind of making fun of some of the junior dragster deals because it seems like a lot of them don't actually want to be there. The children don't actually want to be racing junior dragsters, but the dads want it so badly. That's some of these kids are just like, Dad, I don't like. Can I play video games while you work on the car?
Here's the deal: kids don't know what they want. Sometimes they got to be told. Like, I feel like
neither of us started that young.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's definitely kids who love it and some who don't. But like, I remember when I used to hate going to basketball practice, but then I get there and I'm like having a blast. So sometimes if you see a parent arguing with their kid, it's probably for no reason. And they're just like, hey, get in the car. And then the kid gets in the car and he's like, all right, this is awesome.
I used to hate going to Little League. I really hated suiting up for Little League because it was like a whole outfit that they had.
Yeah,
you had to wear like these long socks and these stupid pants and like a belt and stuff. I was like, why am I wearing all this for Little League? Like,
you're not the most sporty guys.
No, and 10 years ago or 20 years ago was way worse. That kid did not care about
I could see
anything
that.
sports related.
I could see that.
Probably for the best. I could have gotten a debilitating injury.
I know. You almost died at Topgolf.
It was reckless for my parents to be like, his brother's really good at surfing and skateboarding and all these athletic things. Like,
and then let's
just toss the other one in there.
And you took a lifelong injury at Topgolf. I mean, it's just different. You and your brother are cut from a different block of wood, bro.
Well, in my defense, he also has gotten serious injuries from surfing.
Yeah.
His shoulder does not stay in place. He has to like hit it against the wall.
He doesn't have a race car.
He does not have a race
So,
car.
I mean, who's ahead?
Exactly. No golden retrievers. Fully zero golden retrievers.
No golden retrievers, no race car. I mean, what is he really doing?
But I was making fun of junior drags because I've heard stories of it getting so heated at the starting line that
I've heard
the parents
that
are just fighting, and the kids probably don't even care. They're just like,
they're like,
Dad, can you just like freaking
I
stop
want to
it,
go
dude?
fast. Yeah.
It's like, I'm just trying to run my 9.0 in the 8th.
Yeah.
Let me be.
I do love junior dragsters. However, I will say my one thing. Hopefully, I don't take heat for this. The exhaust on them is a little rowdy.
It'd be a lot better.
It actually is louder than I think my 4,000 horsepower El Camino, but it's all good.
On the flip side of that too is they are going down the track for so long that the noise is just for an extensive
really
amount of
just the
time.
idle that gets me. That idle is just ripping.
They are loud.
But dude, as a kid, you're probably sitting in there like revving that thing up, like hell yeah. And they do their burnouts. I'm just like, all right, that is sick.
Go-karting might be a better move though. It teaches a lot of good skills.
I mean, that's
driver's skill level
valid.
Is got to be high.
I think drag racers in general have a misconception of their driver skill. Like drag racers are always like, I drive the wheels off that thing. I'm like, brother, you went straight. I'm like, you just went straight.
Went 500 on the tree and drove straight down.
I'm like, you're on a straightaway. I mean, if you granted, you can wreck, and there's been some amazing saves that I've seen, but I'm also like, I see a guy like swerving down the track. He's like, I'm driving that thing. I'm like, brother, I think you induced that issue. Like, I think you caused it. The instability. Sketchyvert does it on purpose. But some guys, you see them, you're like, your car is so unstable. Have you ever seen the in cars of like the GTR dudes who are like chopping the wheel going down the track? Like, man, this thing's a handful to drive. I guarantee you that a lot of those cars with just very slight slower inputs would move around much less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they're putting like a big floppy tire on the back and like a radial on the front.
Yeah.
That's also trying to hook up. So once you put a big input, you're going to have to put a big correction. It's like flying an RC plane.
Exactly.
Once you put a big correction, you're going to need to keep correcting.
I was trying to tell my son that today. I was trying to teach him how to fly a plane.
That seems
like a
good move.
Yeah. He wasn't doing really good. Granted, he's 11 months old, but he was on them joysticks today, mostly with my help. But I'm like, you got to be slow with your movements. And then my wife, same thing. I'm telling her, you got to chill out on these. She's ripping the plane left, right, up, down. I'm like, babe, slow down. Let the thing fly. Same thing.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a good teacher? Because that's one thing I worry about myself.
I definitely do not think I'm a good teacher.
That's my worry. Like, if you had Alan get in there, and like, hey, teach my 11-month-old son how to fly an RC plane. He may be the better teacher.
He might be better. I think I'm a good teacher to other people than my close friends or wife, because,
I can't teach my wife anything.
Because we have that connection, I'm not afraid to tell her, hey, you're just doing this totally wrong. Versus if it's someone I don't really know, I'll be like, a little bit more
like if somebody had to, if you were onboarding somebody into your business here, who would you have go do the teaching?
If I had
Who's got the gentle
drag
touch
race?
of just, yeah, I
To teach
guess
someone to drag race?
they're on the team for drag racing.
Oof. Definitely not me or James.
How many times would George get asked something?
George,
like,
no shot. I can't do.
He'd be like, I'm not sure about that.
I don't know. I don't think we're hiring anyone else to do any drag racing. Us three idiots have enough going.
But like, if they just had to like help with like unloading and like getting the stuff set up and like
Probably Zach.
working on the cars, maybe Zach.
Zach's probably the one that would speak up the most, but also he would teach them the right way.
Yeah,
Because all of us don't really do anything the right way except for Zach. Ty does stuff the right way, but he probably wouldn't tell the person they're doing it wrong.
yeah.
He'd just be like, and maybe fix it after they left.
Whoever taught your interns, maybe not those guys.
Well, they don't work for me anymore. So.
That's what I mean. Maybe
Yeah.
whoever trained them needs to be retrained.
Yeah, I think we trained them by like trial and error. You know what I mean? Like they would do something and do it wrong. We'd just be like, hey, you got to do that this way.
Yeah.
That might not have been best. But it's like, how do you train someone to work at Mcfarland Racing?
I think it just depends. I mean, if they're folding T-shirts,
Really?
that's a fairly easy
Well,
one.
that's
That's a whole different world. If they're working on a car, you have to know how to work on cars to begin with.
yeah. I mean, training someone to work at our shop is like, I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's true.
So I'm like,
Here's a fire extinguisher. They're in the corner.
yeah, that's pretty much what we tell them when they come in the door. This is where the fire extinguishers are. Don't
Don't trip over
crash
that.
into anything.
Don't trip over that
Yeah.
thing.
It's just one of those things, man. I mean, actually, I got a new intern, and he crashed a car too. I don't know if I told you my first intern.
I know the
My first
two.
interns crashed some Crown Vics.
They're good guys.
Not bad people. And then my new intern ripped a door off of one. Didn't rip it off, but folded it back the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's a pretty big hit.
And it's a real tough break. That one was repairable.
Okay.
So my intern life is not going well. And we call them interns, but they're actually employees.
They do get paid. Paid interns.
They're on the payroll.
Okay.
But it's just easy to, call them the interns.
Yeah.
So right now, we're not hiring an intern. We don't have any interns. We're not hiring an intern.
Intern does imply, though, that you can build up to something. Like, you
Yeah.
start as an intern and you can, before you know it, you're
Absolutely.
cleaning the marlin on the wall.
Yeah, this
You take
last
Sam's job.
this last intern actually left for another job, which is great, and we've just been internless, and we're I don't want to hire an intern because I'm scared they're going to crash one of my vehicles.
Yeah.
So at this point, I've decided I'm just going to wait for a good someone that's badass and just hire them.
You have, 8 years for Rip? 8 years until Rip
I
can
was
clean the
banking on
floors?
some free labor from my son, but he's actually costing me labor.
Yeah.
He takes up a lot of just labor to keep him alive.
But if you can make some money off the videos and some merch,
Yeah, I think
mean-
he's gonna pay off.
very quickly you can recoup your investment. Maybe
I know.
with inflation, I don't know.
I told Maddie that we should have live streamed, Rip being born.
Yeah.
we should have pay-per-viewed it.
Like a GoPro on your head. Chris would have been there at Project
I got
Prime.
the live stream camera. Hold it.
Could have been on the Freedom Network.
Yeah.
I mean, how
We're walking in the hospital. You guys got a Wi-Fi password here or something?
those hospitals are always so cold too, though. I don't know.
I know, dude. Let me tell you what. I know this is a car podcast. We've been talking about life more than anything, but when you go in, I'm not going to get into detail. That's one of the most insane experiences of my life. If you know what, probably the number one and most insane experience of my life was my son being born. It's insane.
I'm excited
I'm
for
not
that
excited.
experience. I'm excited for that,
I'm excited for you.
overwhelmingness of just
Brother.
so much happening.
Let me tell you what. I'm sure we'll talk, whatever, the day after or something.
Probably.
You're gonna be like, bro, you were not kidding. That was insane. It's amazing, but it's also insane.
Yeah, Amber, James's wife, was telling me, she was like, I'll have James like take Cooper out back and like give him like a talk of like what to expect. Like, okay,
Just trying to
is a baby coming
trying
out?
to get you ready, yeah. I mean,
Does a baby come out in the end
It's-
result?
there's gonna be a baby.
Granted, James, he's pretty experienced.
James does have 3 kids, but like, dude, it's just insane. Like the fact that women are in charge of making children, really good thing. Because if it was left to us guys, the population, would have already collapsed. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't do as well with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you.
I'm so pumped for it. So I've mentioned Freedom Plus, FRDM Plus.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited about this because it sounds really cool, and I like anything that looks forward to the future of racing, and I feel like that's kind of what this does.
Yeah. So this is Freedom Plus, aka FRDM Plus. If you've seen the logo,
I like it.
Freedom Plus is like, how we had Cleeter Vision and all of our pay-per-views. Essentially, we just taken all that and pooled it under Freedom Plus. So now when you get on Freedom Plus, there's going to be more content than just Cleetus stuff. It's going to be like a platform for hopefully many styles of racing, all of which that, I already do, but like we want to expand into more markets. And just the beginning of next year, there's going to be a bunch of drag racing that's going to be recorded on there that, is completely unrelated to me.
Yeah.
That very well.
Okay, cool.
And I don't think it's the right time to say the names of the drag races, but it's going to be ones that and you're going to be like, oh, crap, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
that'll be really cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
I think by the end of next year, because I see a little bit of a gap between like these drag race promoters and like getting their stuff out on the internet to fans.
Well, a lot of them are scared. A lot of I've talked to promoters that are scared to put it live because they think nobody will show up in person.
Yeah.
Which I think is a crazy line of thinking. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I've gone a couple ways on that, but I'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
But like basically Freedom Plus, I'm hoping we can bridge that gap for promoters to like get their stuff on the internet without them having to do a lot of work, and it's a good live stream. And then we offer some value somehow. I mean, it's completely negotiable, but also then we add value to Freedom Plus, and then that gets us more subscribers. Mm-hmm. So like you can subscribe right now to Freedom Plus for $99 and you get the whole year of everything that goes on it.
Yeah. Or
you could just buy the month, which is $19.99, and you get everything that's in that month. So like December, for example, you'll get Tour of Destruction, Christmas Tree Drags, and I think there's one other. Oh, and the Spectator Drag World Championship.
Okay.
And then if you don't want any other months of the year, whatever. But if you bought every month individually, it'd be $240. So
yeah, so you're getting a really good deal. Plus, I mean, if you look at it like cost per use, the more stuff you guys add, the cheaper it obviously gets.
I know, yeah. And like if you're in Cleeter Vision, you get free entries into every giveaway.
Oh.
And you get discounts on Freedom Factory tickets.
Okay.
So I mean, there's like all kinds of bonuses.
So if there's a giveaway coming up and you plan on watching a event and you may go to a event in person, it's really insane not to just buy it.
It's insane not to. The value is incredible.
Yeah. Not to be too
it's
pitchy,
like,
but it is kind of just like a no-brainer.
I know. I kind of am like, so we raised the price on it. It'll go up at the end of the year, but like right now it's still just $99.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to raise the price because you want to produce more.
Yeah, so that's the plan, is to raise the price a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing. And Freedom Plus is just, it's all the same stuff you get now. Eventually it'll be more stuff, but like the apps and everything that we're changing into now Freedom Plus, it's so beautiful. You can get on there and it's like you're on like a pro streaming site and you can just like pick out all this automotive stuff. Yeah. So I've already got some good drag races lined up for next year. I'm hoping to even get some more that are like killer events. So working on that.
That's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see that because it feels like a real racing network for people that actually, enjoy cars and this kind of stuff. And we all want to support something that actually does what we want it to do. Like we all want to like align ourselves with like the thing we want, and Netflix and like Hulu and stuff that you're obviously competing with. Not competing with. I mean, people have 10 streaming platforms, but like that's in your in your sights now.
Yeah, it's definitely in our sights, and I think it's gonna grow rapidly. And like, I just have no desire to like let it turn into some sort of crappy streaming network. I just want it to be like an awesome thing. You go on, you always see cool Cleetus stuff, and you get all this great value. Like, I love nothing more than just having like killer value on something. And like, I feel like that is actually really good value.
Like, if you over provide to somebody, they will be begging to give you more money somehow.
Yeah.
Like, they will be buying merch because they feel so fulfilled that they're going to want to support other ways, which is like, if you watch something and you feel like you didn't get fulfilled, like if you go to like an NFL game and you're like, damn, the tickets were expensive, the beers are, expensive, the jerseys, you're going to be like, I don't want to give them $1. Yeah. Because this was just a horrible experience. Yeah. So you guys seem like you obviously have the infrastructure to do it.
Yeah. And back to the live thing, like if you live stream your event, will less people show up? Sorry, that's a really interesting topic. I think it's happened to me but I think for several reasons other than just like, oh, I can watch it live. Why would I go in person? I don't mind if people watch it live at all because we have a paywall. So it still helps us pay for the event.
Yeah.
If you're putting it out for free or if someone else is just getting all the money, then it doesn't really make a ton of sense. But I think what happened to me is I stopped promoting to come to the event. And I'm always like, go to baldeagle.com, watch the live stream. And then I realized, like, oh, shit, we're down in attendance.
But the live feeds are up.
Yeah, the live feeds are doing great. But I was like, damn, like, it's no fun if the stands aren't packed. Mm-hmm. So
it looks cooler.
I learned my lesson a little bit on that earlier this year. So now, now I'm back, like, okay, like Mullets is coming up November 17th and 18th. I'm like, this needs to be sold out. Why is this event not sold out? We've got Travis Pastrana, like all the best YouTubers coming. Why is this not sold out? Well, it's like no one really knew when it is, like, because I just promote the crap out of it the last week and then everyone watches the live stream. And people can't plan to go to an event in Florida unless they have like at least 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I got to get back into my old Cleetus promo. So now I'm like all over Les Mullets, making it amazing. And ticket sales are now going from like flat to like climbing. So I'm really pumped to sell it out.
Shout out to Les Mullets. That'll be a really good one. The lineup there is looking pretty awesome. Garza will race.
Garza, dude, that's probably the most talked about driver.
Has a wild card.
In the 2.4 hours Les Mullets.
So with Freedom Plus, I know it's like very built around live. Like it's obviously built on the back of live streams, but like,
oh yeah, but there'll be like original content too.
That's what I was gonna say, like TV style stuff where there's a season of something, and like, are you thinking like, oh, I'm gonna pick up somebody that maybe isn't like a huge name and try to like make a show?
That's definitely been talked about. And like, have you ever seen the Smoke Show? Have you ever seen those episodes?
Yep.
So like, we got a little bit behind on those this year. So like, we're gonna now revamp those original content that you can't even get on YouTube. Like, but I would love to like pick up a little series about someone that's on
like
the rise.
A season,
Yeah,
just like one season of something interesting.
Totally. So we're just gonna start digging our feet in where we get some grip and see what works. But that's certainly a possibility. Someone interesting, and what do you do? I don't know.
I've talked to Chris at Project Prime about this though. I want to see a automotive show that is filmed like Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. If you've ever seen him, Anthony Bourdain used to just go. He would take like one cameraman. He would go to like Thailand. He would do like he would do like a little history, and he would like do food around the country.
Yeah.
Of like different countries, but you do the same thing for automotive.
Yeah.
And he does like history of it, and he like, if anybody knows, Anthony Bourdain was like the best at doing like a travel show. But he did it for food. Yeah. But like a travel automotive show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could find like a killer host and send someone out to start doing stuff like that. Like I do that on YouTube now with different sports. Like I've liked joining like jet sprint, stuff like that. But I don't ever get into the details Like I'm like I just show up and I want to wheel it. So
You would have to see what he used to do. You know, RIP
I should watch
Anthony
it, yeah.
Bourdain, but he did a kill. I mean, it went on for like 20 seasons or something crazy.
Really?
And he just went all around the country, world, everywhere. But that's just one show that you guys could. Obviously, there's probably 50 cool car shows that just need they just need a little bit of budget to be good. It's almost like Motor Trend a little bit. Like they just need like a little bit of budget.
Just imagine like a hitter. Like imagine we got a hitter like Top Gear. Like
Yeah.
remember how sick Top Gear was, BBC? Imagine, or like Street Outlaws, that's a hitter. Like imagine we got a show off the ground on our network, Freedom Plus, that was as epic as one of those shows. But and it's like TV show style. It's not like YouTube style.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be insane. Like I dream about it. That keeps me up at night.
Well, I know that Mr. Finnegan's also a free agent now these days too, right?
Is he?
I don't know. Or he stopped doing Faster with Finn. I think he's still doing Roadkill.
Yeah, I think he's still doing some stuff. But yeah, no more Faster with Finn.
Yeah, I know it's Faster with Newburn and Cotton now.
Yeah.
Good old Newburn. Cotton.
Those are good guys.
Those are good guys. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like with those deals, you have to get the host when they're small.
Yeah,
That's
because
the best way.
like I could think of an epic Top Gear right now if it was me, Vice Grip, and Whistling Diesel.
But like
everyone would watch that, but their time
impossible.
is too expensive.
Exactly. Like Clarkson and May and Hammond started doing it when they were writers for like no-name magazines.
I know. So I need to find 3 guys who are very different.
Yes, that are also pretty like fairly small that could just be built up, but finding talent's like a whole freaking
so
thing in
hard,
itself.
yeah. And then you sign them for 2 years, and after the 2 years, they're like,
they're famous.
We won 10 times. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like I just imagine digging into that world is probably really complicated.
It would be really cool to see like some actual, because like you have this younger audience than most of automotive. Like even people recommend guests for this, and I'm like, these guys were on TV 30 years ago. Like they've been off TV for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like I never watched this stuff.
Yeah,
like I don't know. Like I'm sorry. Like I just I couldn't. I wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's definitely like, I mean, look at all the obstacles we're thinking of right now. So it can be done. It just needs to be.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That'll be really cool. So
Yeah.
Freedom Factory event coming up. You guys should definitely go to it if you're in the area. That is
Yeah,
definitely
we got monster trucks, pyrotechnics, Crown Vics racing, and burnouts. I mean, and it's like $20 to get in.
very reasonable price to get in and hang out.
You can get a Mountain Dew and then 2 hot dogs for $5.
Yeah.
So if you have $25, you're having a day.
You get to meet all of your favorite people. They sell merch and stuff. Another one that I get heat about sometimes, you may agree with me. I say the C8 is kind of a dud.
Well,
For how I imagine cars in my
it's $100,000.
29-year-old brain, I see cars as like, I would like them to go fast in a straight line and be modifiable.
Yeah, let's talk about what's comparable for $100,000.
A Mustang, a Coyote car,
Yeah, but you don't
a
get that exotic look.
a GT500.
You don't get that look though.
Yeah, what else can you get for $100,000? I mean, what does Porsche have that's $100,000? The Z06s are like what, 125, 130.
Yeah, but relatively in that area,
Yeah.
100,000.
Does Porsche have anything in that world? They're a little steep.
Nah,
For that price point, it's definitely
it fits that need, man. That like all those guys who buy those. I mean, for us,
you get 2
C8
Hellcats.
For us, the C8 not ideal.
2 Hellcats.
I'd rather have 2 Hellcats than 1 C8, hands down. But the C8, like for an older guy who only wants to spend $100,000, comparable to like just to buy like a Ferrari is like probably 300. So if you've got $100,000 and you want to put it towards a cool car that's like looks freaking exotic and has this high tech interior, it's perfect. But they're a dud if you want a drag race.
What about C7? I mean, I know it's the older car.
$40,000.
Man, that's a good value.
That's a good deal.
That is even the Z06s are like 60.
Yeah, dude. I paid 40 something thousand for my C7. I mean, that's a smoking deal.
There's not much better value than a C7.
Man, Literally.
The
That's like,
ZR1s are like 200,
yeah.
which is wild, the difference there.
C7 is prime, dude. When those things were brand new, think about the economy then. It's like the inflation wasn't really hitting yet, but the economy was working good.
Yeah.
So everything was priced
rolling,
right. That was nice.
like 2014,
Yeah.
right before everything was
nice.
really inflated, because now used cars are like insane. Or even
know.
like new cars, like every new like Toyota Camry is like 60.
Yeah.
Like what?
Dude.
You got a C7 for 48, and you're looking at
Oh.
Camrys now.
What was I just thinking of the other day? Aren't the like Kia? I think Kias are upwards of like the really pimped out ones.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that's
The
what I was thinking of.
SUVs.
I was thinking of Jeep Wagoneers. Those are over $100,000. I think
That's probably a bad car too.
that's. I
bet
mean,
you
they're
that-
good. I've driven them as rentals. They're good, but it's just crazy to think you're spending $100,000 on a Jeep.
I bet you the lifespan of that isn't going to be long. I don't think we're going
Yeah.
to see many Grand Wagoneers in 8 years.
550 horsepower. They rip.
Yeah.
That's my favorite rental car. But
It's
it's just shocking to see $100,000 Jeeps.
You know what really rips
Track
too?
Rock makes sense.
The my grandma has a Lincoln Navigator with the twin turbo EcoBoost in it, the same one as like the Mustangs have or the Raptor has.
Raptors, yeah.
That thing rips.
Rip.
And it gets like insane gas mileage. I'm like, why is Chevy still putting these big ass motors and everything that get horrible gas mileage?
Dude.
They can't even tow as well.
Chevy is like,
They're in a weird spot.
oh my gosh, man. I don't know, but their C7s were killer.
They did great on that. They did great on that. You know,
Corvettes up till the C8 were pretty killer.
once my boy Jamie Meyer left, their performance division got all out of whack.
It just got, it's like, who knows what. I just guess that we're probably not their demographic.
That makes sense. I mean, I own a Cadillac as well, so I'm also not buying
You're also
anything
not
new.
their demographic.
Yeah, I'm not buying anything brand new right now. Nothing. The E-Ray is kind of interesting, but their marketing is horrible.
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah,
Honestly, Ford is just killing it, in my opinion.
everyone.
Ford and Dodge with the Hellcats and all that, dude, they're just like, you get 700 horsepower, you get 710, you get 710. Like, it's great.
No credit, no proof of income. Come get one.
Dude, it's great. They're like, we'll put a Hellcat engine in anything. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, what is left for them to supercharge?
I wouldn't be
Have
surprised.
they done a
if,
Chrysler 300? No, it's not a Dodge product. So.
No, I mean it's a Fiat or
I know it's a
Stellantis.
Chrysler, but like I don't think they crossed the Hellcats over into Chrysler.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they put the Hemis in them.
Yeah.
They put the Hemis
that's
in
true,
them,
So
it can't be a
I
huge
don't know
stretch.
if there's a Hellcat 300. I don't think there is.
No, they probably did.
But they got like now it's like you can get the Charger, Challenger, Durango, Jeep, the TRX. Like they got.
I did see a C8
awesome.
Z06 the other day on the road, and they look good. They do look
Well, like
very good.
Sissio has that one that runs pretty fast, and that thing is sick looking.
Yeah, I think 8s are like a stretch for those things still.
Yeah, because it's dual clutch.
Yeah, and tuning just became available on the stock ECU, but not the TCM. So the transmission, you kind of just have to hope it does transmission stuff.
Yeah.
Gotta,
I was thinking about making a Facebook post like one of yours today. Because you know how you make those ones like just calling out groups of people that do.
You're not a
ridiculous-
big troll.
No, I don't.
I'm a little
I don't
worse
have time
on
for
that.
that. Yeah, I'm like out here. I'm like out. I gotta edit videos, dude, or do something. But anyway, I was thinking about a post that I was like, this is a Cooper Bogetti post. People who like look at a steak that's like cooked medium rare and they're like, that don't got enough moo in it. Like, like I like my steak actually rare.
Yeah,
I'm like,
people
dude,
wanna, like,
I
one-up you.
don't care. Like, I posted some steaks on my Instagram story because Garza wanted me to try this lemon juice on my filet. And, like, dude, this thing's like, it's probably medium. Like, and I got so many comments like, dude, that thing's cooked dry. Like, it was medium at the farthest you could say. Like, it's still red.
People just want to like try to like make themselves like feel a little macho.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was thinking they're the same guys. This is the same group of people who say that thing don't got enough moo in it. Are the same people who don't plug their ears when there's a really loud car.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Because I've always thought it's funny when people are like, they're too cool to cover their ears when there's like a pro mod on the chip nitrous car.
Yeah.
They're like, just would look too lame to plug my ears, and they're just going deaf. They're the same people who are like, that's way overcooked, and it's like not. You know what I mean?
A public service announcement. Nobody's judging you for covering your ears.
Honestly, I think it's cool. like
I respect it. Like,
I totally understand. If you want to plug your ears, wear some earplugs. Respect.
Yeah, look at the starter. They wear ear protection.
But some people, when they're like standing there just like, just playing it off like you don't hurt their ears, that's crazy.
No, I get it. It's that same, like, there's this local, Facebook page for food in Lakewood Ranch. And people will be like, I had a slice of pizza from so-and-so the other day, and as a New Yorker, and I'm like, you don't have to preface that, like, you're from New York to be like, it's just a good slice of pizza. Like, you didn't have to give your resume. I don't need, like
if it ain't mooing, I don't want it.
As a cattle farmer.
Like, who wants a steak with a cold center, dude? Is that really good? I mean, I get it. The rarity is nice. Like, it has some flavor, but like, do you want a steak with a cold center? I could post the most rare steak and people be like, that thing is well overcooked.
You should just overcook the crap out of me.
I should.
For a video and just be like, this is how I eat all of my
I should, dude.
Well, so also though, my Facebook actually pays pretty well.
Your Facebook pays?
For like just posting, yeah. Like if it just gets reach, it doesn't have to be a video.
Oh, you get monetized by that?
It's all monetized.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like some posts will go off and it'll just be like hundreds of dollars.
What?
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay.
On your personal Facebook?
No, on my group page, whatever on my personal Facebook and on the Cooper Bogetti page that I always post shit on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like I'm wasting time.
How do I not know that you can make money on Facebook?
I know you can make them on in-stream ads. That's how, like, you can get stars, you can get ads, you can get subscription, but like I'll just make a post, and if it gets good reach, it pays money. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just write things,
so
I guess.
So you just roast people?
Yeah. Sensitive people pay really well.
Wow. So I wonder how they're monetizing that. Are they playing ads on your posts or
just on like a text? Just like it's like a tweet that I just make money off.
I guess you're just bringing people to Facebook, dude. Everyone's like, well, I got to go look at Cooper's Facebook, see what he's talking shit about today.
Zuck is like, he keeps the people engaged. So,
I saw Zuck land in a helicopter the other day on a floating pad next to his wakeboard boat. I saw a video of it, and I was like, damn.
Was he like fully covered white zinc?
Zuck's living that life, dude. He was in an EC-135. That's a very nice helicopter.
Dang.
Pretty impressed.
He is definitely top level baller. Like he bought like every house within like 6 houses of him.
Smart.
Just to like keep it safe and protective. Yeah. He's definitely doing it. Cars, copters, and cars and copters.
Cars, coffee, copters, Cubs.
I was like, I used to go to the Cars and Coffee. I still do. I go to the Cars and Coffee in UTC, and I pull up, and I'm like, man, these are really nice cars. They make me feel really poor. Mm-hmm. And then you roll up, and there's helicopters.
Well,
you're like, oh, I thought that McLaren made me feel poor. And then you see some dude in like
that black one, that MD530, I mean, that thing's probably worth $1.6 million.
Yeah, like you think like a Senna is cool when you see it.
That crazy 2,500 pounds of metal worth $1.5 million. This is crazy.
Sounds like a big markup.
Well, it has to fly through the air.
But like if you think like just raw material costs, like if you had all these raw materials, what's the most profitable thing you can make off of them? It's like
smoldered down.
It's not a car.
Not much. I mean, a couple grand. Probably. Yeah, it's the way that the metal is formed makes it valuable.
They do a good job.
Yeah, I think
blue one, whatever that blue one that had like the jet turbine.
The white and blue one?
Yeah,
Those are worth about
that was pretty nice.
those are worth about 350 grand.
It looked like it held a lot of people.
Yeah,
Friend helicopter.
they're slightly underpowered though. So like if you wanted to fill all those seats, it'd be a reach to fly that thing also full of fuel.
Oh,
If that makes sense.
that's kind of crazy.
So like you may have to run a half tank to take a full passenger setup.
Huh. That's weird. You would think that like the capacity of the cabin would be sufficiently sized to the capacity of what it can carry.
That's not how they build them.
You would think somebody did the math.
Yeah.
Like X amount of cubic feet of human is this weight, and our payload is actually less.
Yeah, so like helicopters have usable load, and like some just have a lot less than they should. So like for example, the other black one, the Robinson so that's a Bell 206 you're talking about. It has one C-20 engine. You know the red helicopter you flew in with me? That's got two of the same.
Okay.
So it's like all helicopters are built
sportier.
different. The other black one, the smaller one, the Robinson, that has one piston engine that makes like I think 220 horsepower. So like that one to put four people in, if you put four grown men in it, like you got to be under half tank of fuel because the usable load's really small. But like then the black one that's worth 1.5 million, you could have four people in it and pick up a jet boat on the hook and fly away.
That does make sense.
So it's just different. It's like
Was that the one that dropped my beloved?
no, same brand though. That was not the one.
People were messing me.
beloved
They're like,
mystery machine.
"How mad are you right now?" I'm like, "Guys, did you see how wrecked that?"
They're like, dude, I feel so bad for Cooper. He destroyed the mystery machine.
Like, do you guys even know me? Like, you think I'm all upset about?
Remember when we bought that rig, dude?
That was great. That was a
A
random
long way. Engine's still good. Pulled it out.
dude. Freaking Mike Vargas knows what he's doing sometimes.
Unbelievable.
He rarely, he got it right. I'm just
said
kidding.
it.
That's my boy, Mike. He just had his third girl. Shout out to Mike.
Dude. My
Big
boy's
girl
out
guy.
here having daughters.
Yeah.
He called me. He goes, "What's your secret?" I'm like, dude, I don't know. I just had a boy. He's probably going to call you, ask you.
I think he's done at 3. I
he
don't think
just
he wants
not
to
going
risk
for a
it for a
fourth?
fourth. I think the risk to reward is tough.
4 girls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that bad. That's not that bad compared to 3 girls. Like, you're already in so deep. It's just.
I mean, you
Whatever.
add a fourth to that mix, and you're just surrounded. There's no hope.
I mean, he has a wife. He has 4 women. In
That
his
is true. I mean, I have 2 girl dogs
females.
and a wife, so it was kind of inevitable that I needed a boy.
Yeah,
my life.
we got blessed having boys on the first run
Yeah.
because then it's like you don't have to worry about it. If you have a girl, your first one, that's great. But then it's like, okay, what if you have another girl? Then you run the risk of having a third girl,
Yep.
and then you're in there. That's a lot of daughters.
Yeah, I know. That's a tough one. That's a stressful thing because you're really rolling the dice the more girls you get. That's what
And then
that's what
it's like-
Mike's doing. He's
Then
rolling the dice.
You have 3 girls, and then you have another. You go for another.
Yeah.
Is that a risk you're willing to take?
My aunt and uncle, they have 5 boys. Which equally
as bad. If
she
not
wanted a
worse.
girl.
Yeah.
She was like, please, God.
I feel so lucky that I got a girl on the second try.
You have to have at least 3.
Oh my gosh.
Like for replacement, you have to have 3. All right, guys, I wanted to interrupt this real quick to say if you enjoy what we're doing here, I only ask one thing. Hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. It helps us grow and we can keep this thing going. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Thank you guys so much for the continued support.
I know. I was just seeing Elon Musk was saying something about that.
Yeah, and that was actually what I wanted to talk about too, because you've been a big truck tester guy. Like you're getting well
What?
known for testing pickup trucks, drag racing.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen this quite a few
I know,
times.
dude. So
What about the Cybertruck, dude? It might be the best truck, the most aerodynamic.
I'd be absolutely shocked if I drove that Tesla Cybertruck and said this is better than my Raptor R.
If it beats it,
Well, there's a good chance it's going to be faster.
there's a good chance it could
But
tow
the
more,
Raptor
too.
R is a very well-rounded vehicle. It can jump, drift, drag race, and beat most vehicles. There's not a lot of stuff that can beat it on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking, it beats Mustangs. souped up 370Zs. BMW kids. I mean, none of them stand a chance to my Raptor R.
Really called out the gambit of.
Well, that's just majority of the guys
car
trying to
community.
race me. You know what I'm saying? If a Z06 pulls up, I mean, yeah, brother, you're gonna win this. But about every other kid, I can still beat in my daily, and that gives me a lot of, feel good.
I feel like a Cybertruck, honestly, for you would be pretty good. Like, I feel like you don't drive your Raptor that far every time you drive it. Like, I feel like you normally go to like the shop.
Yeah, but dude, a Tesla Cybertruck? Like what?
If it's faster and it just rips, and you don't have to go to the gas station. That would be great.
Listen, I'll try it, but there is just
If somebody has one on order and is going to get one soon, they have to bring it to drag race.
dude, 100%. Like,
think
I
they've
mean, it's gonna
12.
win. It's gonna beat me in a drag race because they're gonna go like nines, guaranteed.
That'd be wild.
You know, it's
They're
just,
pretty aerodynamic looking.
electric. You know, it's pretty good for drag racing, like fast street cars. Obviously,
They're pretty aerodynamic looking.
have you seen the videos of like the panels a little bit like not looking very good?
Yeah, so
So I was curious about that.
I guess the story is like Elon was, getting on his engineers and they were like, the tolerances have to be like, 3 decimal points. And they were like, no one in the automotive industry does anything near that. That's like space travel level tolerances. Like the automotive industry tolerances on panels and on like engine specs and everything are pretty shit. And he's like asking for like this extreme level of tolerance that they're just like, it just doesn't work like that. Like we don't.
Yeah, but because it's a flat piece of metal, you can see every imperfection. Like,
Yeah.
there's no curve to them.
And the cut
They look
has to be so
rough.
perfect.
They look rough in the videos I've seen.
Yeah. There's no way. Like it's going to look like a fridge with
But-
with like smudges.
Tesla's not really known for their fit and finish, so I mean they're known for their performance and not having to get gas. I guess that's
I mean, who is known for their fit and finish on cars? Corvettes are known for orange peel.
Porsche.
That's a guarantee.
Porsche has some pretty amazing fit and finish.
Yeah, I tell people this all the time. I'm like people that talk about like Lambos and stuff. I'm like, just get a 911 turbo.
I know I converted you. I personally made you a Porsche guy. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're so good and they're
yes.
so small and nimble.
They're amazing.
They really are.
They are amazing.
Not a GT3. I don't need 9,000 RPM. I
They
don't.
just aren't that cool.
Yeah, like when am I gonna go to 9,000 RPM?
I mean, if I had a GT3, I'd probably go to it a lot.
They're
Personally,
it's pretty spicy when you're up at 9,000.
the comparables with the GT3. Okay, so GT3 rides hard, revs high, doesn't have turbos, rear wheel drive.
Stick shift.
Turbo S.
Sometimes.
Yes. Well, stick shift's kind of cool, I guess. Turbo S, comfortable. All wheel drive. So it launches awesome. Twin turb skis. And
Impeccably reliable.
unbelievably reliable.
The Germans nailed it on that one. It is not like exciting
Yeah.
to look at really, and like it's not like the
Nah,
most
they don't.
exciting car,
Exactly.
but it just is utilitarian as can be.
Yeah. Yep.
Like if you were like, hey, you need to cannonball something across the country that's reliable.
I know.
Maybe like it'd probably want it to be a 911 turbo.
I wish that I would have been more on top of it during COVID and built like a fuel cell for the front of my Turbo S and tried to beat the Cannonball
My
record.
boy Arnie up there, 25:39, dude.
Yeah.
That's a tough number to beat.
Do you think 25 hours, 39 minutes will ever be beat because of he did that during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it'll ever be beat without another shutdown?
I think it'll only be micro records from here on out. Like people
Wow.
like Diesel or like Solo or
And does he believe that a lot of time can be shaved off that number, do you think?
he said maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's what he said was like his what he thought could be
Wow.
shaved off.
Oh my gosh. So he's pretty confident he like really nailed it.
Yeah, like 110 and moving average. 110 mile an hour moving average across the country for 25 hours straight.
That's insane.
It's like if people don't realize how insane Cannonball is, like you're just missing out on a complete
And, yeah.
stamina event.
And to bring the average up to 110 means that at some points he had to counteract the fact that he was doing 0 when he stopped, right?
Yeah.
So at some points, he's just holding probably 200 or close to 200 just to bring the average up to 110.
I think it was like a 750 horsepower Mercedes that he did it in.
Car to do it in.
Yeah, comfortable. You can just rip in that thing. There's a guy in the back with binoculars at 120.
That would suck.
Just trying to look forward for cops, like just bouncing around.
That would suck.
There's like RV records though, and like van records, limo.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some crazy aviation records.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's R71 has them all, but like I bet you there's some privateers who are trying it now.
Mm-hmm. Did the aviation community go a little wild when the government just lost that plane? Did you see that?
F-35?
Yeah, they were just like, oops.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's honestly not that shocking as a pilot. Like,
It's just gone.
no, it's not that shocking as a pilot. Like, to be honest, aviation is just not nearly as like dialed in as it seems. Like, I'm sure from my perspective, it's not that like strict.
Not very regulated.
Yeah, like these guys who aren't in the spotlight, like because I'm in the spotlight, there's a lot of things I don't do. But like these guys who have no YouTube channel and no care in the world, like these old guys, bro, I've seen some stuff where I'm like, damn, like there's really no one to like say, hey, no, you can't do that if it's not recorded.
Well, like imagine being some guy that like, worked on aircraft in Vietnam, and then now suddenly you're going to tell him like
Yeah.
he can't just fly his Cessna when he wants.
Well, yeah, like, okay, so think about all the illegal
He's
stuff.
like, I carpet bombed all of Vietnam, and now I can't just drive my Cessna.
Yeah. I mean, think about all the stuff we do in cars. It's illegal.
Yeah.
So, like, people do that in airplanes. And like, you go to some little airports in the middle of nowhere. These planes haven't had annual inspections. These guys just built these things, and they don't have a license. Probably half the pilots I know at some point flew without a license, and like there's just no one to say like, hey, you can't do that, because
You can get pulled over in the air.
Yeah, probably 80% of airports don't have a tower, so you can just you could just go take off out of my backyard right now if you wanted to.
And land, and nobody would really.
You could take the Cub from the Freedom Factory and go fly it, and as long as you landed it safely,
nobody would ever know.
the flight wasn't even recorded, right? Like there's no data that the FAA would even have that says the flight was recorded, because we're not within an area where we have to have the transponders even on.
Imagine it 20 years ago. That's
great. You could probably just like blow through airspace, and they're like, we don't even know who.
Pre 9/11 was probably just insanely lawless.
Yeah.
Even like at like full blown airports.
Yeah. I think about like not having GPS.
Yeah.
When I talked to my CFI, he's like, I didn't have autopilot or GPS, and he was flying like 50 passengers, and they're all in the back, and he's got a piece of paper that he calculated earlier off of guesses of the weather, because the weather was horribly inaccurate too. And he's got all their lives, and he's just like figuring it out, like trying to make it into another city. I'm like, that is just insane.
Just going off of like somewhat sight and hopes and whatnot.
Literally a lot of hopes and dreams.
Well,
people land at the wrong airports all the time.
Well, I have one more thing that I do want to talk about, because burnouts. It's this new sport.
Yep.
And everybody's super pumped on it.
Yeah.
But some people seem to be doing them wrong at other events. And I wonder what your take on that is. Like, there's been
what do you mean
just
wrong?
like, from safety to judging to like, if you're used to like going to a Cleetus event, it's probably very different than like some of these other guys trying to throw them.
Yeah.
Do you worry about them tainting the sport in a way? Because it can kind of taint the sport a little.
I think because we are so like based off of Australia's stuff, like Australia has kind of defined what like a burnout competition is. Mm-hmm. And I think that everybody knows that's what it is. So like when you come to Cleetus and Cars, that's the standards that you're held to. I mean, like what you're saying, like bad burnout competitions is probably like the equivalent to bad drag races. Like it is out there and it does probably hinder the sport a little bit, but the fact that people are still building stuff to do burnouts, I think is good for the sport as a whole. So whether they're doing the burnout competitions right or not, like I think the one bad thing is just like no safety equipment.
The safety is a
just
word.
because you're doing a burnout, like you probably shouldn't do it in t-shirt, shorts, and no helmet because
Where people stand is even scarier.
yeah, that's a bad thing.
That worries me more than because like if I'm the driver, I know the risk as the driver.
Yeah.
I take that on myself. I built this shit box.
Yep.
The people near the pad
Yeah, so like
can be scary.
what we've changed, obviously, you see like the tall fencing, chain link, tall. You know, we used to just have the bike fence. Now we have tall chain link fencing around all our
The
burnouts.
barricades have changed.
We don't allow aluminum wheels because those exploded, and yeah, the barriers changed a ton. We had to have heavier barriers now, and like yeah, if they don't do any of that, they're asking for it.
But that's where I feel like it makes the sport almost like, by not painting it in like a safe light, a good light, kind of like hinders the sport a little bit.
Probably the worst looking thing for burnouts is takeovers.
Yeah,
I think
that's
people
not good.
probably associate those pretty close,
That was
and
bad
like
for a
they
street
think
car
that I'm
takeover.
contributing to like street takeovers. That I don't love.
That definitely does not help. I have liked that, the dude Sleepy. Remember we met him? He was doing the takeovers legally.
Yeah, he does.
He was doing legally at like burnout pits.
Yeah.
And that's cool, live it up.
I see that happening a lot more, but like when people go to like Lowe's and just absolutely crank the whole parking lot and then crash and then like, dude, you see all these shootouts at intersections.
Yeah.
My dude, that's not good for automotive, period.
But if somebody, at a different facility maybe came to you and they were like, hey, I want to build a burnout pit and start doing this stuff, like
Yeah.
there almost needs to be like a little direction in a way.
Oh yeah,
I guess, like a
I would give
safety standard.
If anybody ever wanted the Cleetus Cars rule book, they can have it. I would never blame anyone for just taking our rules because we took our rules from Australia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ours are definitely a little different, but like if anyone wanted our rule book to start a burnout competition, they could happily have our rules. And burnouts are growing, so it's just it's probably safer, better that we all use the same rules. But I don't really want to fire up like a NHRA of drag racing.
No, I don't think it needs
Seems
an
unnecessary,
NHRA.
yeah.
I just think like it almost needs like hey, this is our standard. You choose to follow the Cleetus and Cars standard or you don't type of thing. If you want to be an outlaw, just recognize that you're kind of being an outlaw.
Yeah, we're finally actually changing the name of Cleetus and Cars. Remember how I always talked about changing the name to a more general?
Yeah.
We're changing it to Burnout Rivals.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, so all this year now we're calling it Burnout Rivals.
Nice.
Just so my name doesn't have to be on it anymore. Because I think a lot of people are like, Cleetus and Cars, what the hell is that? Burnout Rivals, you're like, oh, it's a burnout competition?
Yeah, I think you want to work towards like having something that can go on without you there as well, which is kind of nice. Not that you're not going to be there, but
yeah.
yeah,
like Summer
relying on
Summer
you.
Nats is like, the event is like 40 years old. I think they're at 42 or 43 years old now. And it's like, I definitely want my event to live on for 40 years. And if it's named Cleetus and Cars, it probably doesn't help.
Yeah, and then it can have its own merch that isn't like related to has to be you and stuff. So it's kind of just like a future proofing it in a way.
Yeah, that's why I rebranded it. It's like I feel like I'm putting limiters on it by having it Cleetus and Cars. So
That's cool. I like that. Well, good freaking talk, man. That was fun.
yeah, that was great.
I love having you on, man. It's always a good time. We need
Happy
to
to come on, dude.
whenever something cool's going on in your deal, I love hearing about it.
Yeah, thanks for putting it out there. I like talking about it.
I love helping as much as all the viewers that are watching this probably already know you, but if we can talk about it in a different light is kind of
I mean, I never like sit down and just chat about stuff on YouTube, so I'm happy to do it here. 'Cause you got a good thing going.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate everything you've always done for me and the sport and my family. But
Same to you, brother.
yeah, we're gonna end it off there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Cleetus Mcfarland if you haven't.
You know the deal.
We'll see you next time.